Good evening again, everyone out there in the virtual land of the shakeup. We just want to thank you so much for being here with us again. It's always our privilege, my privilege, the team's privilege, and our guests' privilege to share some things with you. We're grateful for that. I don't want to take a whole lot of time with the preambles. You know what the shakeup is all about. It's all about reframing something, putting something in a new frame, but we don't change the old things. All right. So, and we're doing this because it will give you an idea of how you can make your own shakeups and create something very positive out of your shakeup lifestyle. All right. So, but a couple of things we'd like for you to do. And if you see me drinking, because I'm nursing a dry throat right now, but I wouldn't let that stop us. So I want you to like, follow, share, and subscribe, okay? It is the lifeblood of this and all podcasts. There are some good podcasts out there, and I'm just telling you that find some also, with that word, also. Don't dump me, also, all right? So that you can get a variety of different information from different people and give you kind of a well-rounded global perspective of what life is out there and how it can change your life. Okay. And then we'd also, apart from like, follow, share, and subscribe, we'd like for you to be a part of the show. Just go to the website and click on drkidspeaks@gmail.com to be, and if you want to be considered for the show, you can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it. We have some good, ordinary people just doing some great things. You can do it too, listeners. All right, come just share your story. All right, enough said. Tonight, we have a returning guest. Her name is Diane. The last time she lit a match under us, talking about mental health. And today, she's got something else. It's not going to light a match. It's going to light a log under us this time around, okay? So just sit back, buckle up, and get in your seat belt, and we're going to get ready to go. Enough said with me. So listen, Diane, just slide on in, come out of the green room, and there she is. Diane, how are you?
Dr. Kit, I'm great. I'm so excited that you brought me back.
Absolutely.
And
we told you we would.
I know, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how have things been with you since the last time? You're doing pretty good?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
I'm in DC, so it's pretty cold.
Pretty cold, yes. Pretty cold.
Yeah, it's pretty
all
cold.
Right.
So all is good. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I just got a dry throat. I'm nursing. That's all I'll be. Okay. I don't want people to think that I'm out there taking a shot every now and then.
I wasn't going to judge. I wouldn't. Not my business.
It's none of your business.
It's my business.
It's none of your business. Okay. Listen, Diane, as always, we really enjoyed you the last time. We said we're going to get you back on here. And I know you have a very wide global perspective, and with that comes with global information of good quality and quantity. So tonight, I know that you have something really good for us. I don't want to mess it up. I'm not going to tell the folks what it is. I want you to get on in there and just tell us what you're going to be talking about, and just lead us. And I just want to say this to the folks out there that are listening: please put some stuff in the chat. Ask your question, make your suggestions. Beef up Diane. Let her know that you really appreciate everything that she's saying. Okay, don't worry about me. Please focus on Diane this evening. All right, Diane, you got it. Take it away.
I got the floor. What?
You got sit on the chair, will you? I don't want you to sit. What's on the floor? Come on, Diane.
Oh, I'm in the chair. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to talk today about something that's very it's very important, because I think couples, when they decide to go from a me to a we, need to have some really difficult conversations, or just conversations about what they want this relationship to look like. They need to have that decision made before they get committed and engaged, get married. They need to really decide, do I want the traditional type of relationship where there's the hierarchy, there's, the husband who takes the lead and who primarily makes the decisions, the wife supports him. Do they want that kind of relationship, or do they want the relationship where it's 50-50, which I hear a lot, 50-50, everything's split down the middle. But when I think about that particular type of relationship, is it really, it's not one of equality, because sometimes our partner is going to make more money than we make. What happens to that 50-50 then? What if they're not able to come up with their 50%, right? So there's a lot of things that we need to take in consideration when we are going into relationships. So I was reading this book, Dr. Kit. It was called Getting to I Do, The Secrets of Doing Relationships Right. And it was a very interesting read. I'm still reading it actually. And it made me think about a conversation I was having with my aunts recently, the women in my family. So we
Mhm.
were talking, my aunts, I had a cousin and my mom who's 86, and we were sitting there. And so they were teasing me because they overheard me talking to my guy. And they were like, after I hung up, it's like, didn't y'all just talk like 2 or 3 times today already? And why does your voice change? And why did your posture change? And it's so funny. So it got us to thinking about how we were conditioned generationally in our family for women to show up to be strong and women to show up to be independent. And so what happened, it doesn't allow for us to show up in our divine femininity. It doesn't allow us to be soft because we weren't conditioned that way. And so they were looking at me because how I was interacting with him, and they were like, I could never see me doing that. Like, I don't need to talk to somebody that many times a day, or I don't need to check in. And it just had me really thinking about those women from which I have come from, generationally had to go through some trauma. They've gone through some things in their life where they had to show up to be strong. That's the only thing they knew how to be, was
Mhm.
strong. And so they were saying how they never really fell into that soft side of them, and to that. And so some of them were divorced, some were married, but they still were like, I just never have really tapped into my femininity. So it brought me to this question about being in a relationship, when it comes to being submissive, because we talked about that as well. And
Yeah. Okay.
submissive, that's a word, it's a loaded word, Dr. Kit, because people think it means like a control. They think it means like somebody's altering their personality, somebody's dominating them. And so that's really not what the case is. We're all alpha females pretty much in our family, but I am what you call an alpha submissive. And when you talked about reframing, it's not about changing who you are. It's really about, yes, I work in the field of football, in professional football, right? So I'm a woman in sports. So how I show up at work is, even my language, and even how I show up at work, and managing people and leading, right? So I know how to lead at work, but when I get home, Dr. Kidd, that's not something that I really am interested in doing, making all the decisions, doing all of those, what we look or tend to call masculine, the masculine energy of us. So just wanted to kind of talk about that. And because I know some women will say I'm an alpha woman,
Okay.
and it's okay to be an alpha woman, but you also could be an alpha submissive in relationships. So I
Okay.
wanted to kind of talk about how we can reframe the word submissive from something that's being bad and
Okay.
something that's, not good in a relationship, and how we can use who we are and align it with being a submissive type of person.
Okay. We got six. Oh, okay. Thank you, 6'5". I always had a problem with 50-50. It should be 100-100. Okay.
Yes, I like that.
We should be giving it out all in a relationship, not half.
Not half.
Thank you, 6'5", because I think that is such a wonderful way to start out here. If 50-50 means that you got I'm giving you 50, and I got my other 50 back here somewhere. So for a
Right.
rainy day, for a rainy day. And if I did that, my wife would never get all of me because I was like, hey, listen, I don't know when this woman's gonna run away from me. And I gotta have my stuff back here. you know. Thank you,
Wow.
6'5".
Yeah, that
So
was good.
okay. So what else? What how else can you address that? What our listener just wrote up there?
Well, I think I like the 100%, because we're not always gonna, sometimes it's even gonna be 70-30. Sometimes it's gonna be 60-40. It just depends. And so when you're in relationships, what if I'm sick and I'm not able to do my 100 or my 50, right? Maybe I can only do 20 because I'm not feeling well. The expectation is, can my partner be the type of partner that gets in on that 80%, right? What if I make more money than my partner? There's some inequity there, right? So does that mean that, what if we're in a 50-50 relationship? They can't really do 50-50, honestly, because they don't, their income is a little lower. That's not a true fact, but for me. But I'm just saying, so I love how when you say 100 and 100% is everything that you have in you and how you show up, right? I'm giving you 100% to the best of my ability, but I need you to know that sometimes I may not be able to do 100,
Okay.
depending on what's going on in my life.
Right.
And can you, when I can't do that, are you going to be that person to step in and say, I got you?
Okay. Now, is, do you think then that when we're talking about 50-50, hold some my rainy day thing over there? That's where I put all my rain. That's where I put the other 50, my rainy day place over there. Um, there's got to be a reason, more than just acculturation. Just we've been cultured to be this way. Some women at the personal level, if you can kind of think about that, what would be reasons, and I'm not saying whether good or bad, what would be some reasons or a reason why a particular woman in a particular relationship, because not all relationships are the same,
Right, right.
and you addressed that already. Thank you for that. What would be a reason why they would say, I, you know, I will give 100% of my 50 or give 100% of my 75. What do you think is going on there with the person who's saying, listen, I, I got to hold on to some? What do you think's going on?
I think when I hear that, when you're in a healthy relationship, it's about trust. Um, and I think when you're holding back something and you're not bringing your full authentic self into that relationship, sometimes people get in relationships and have a suitcase packed and it's in a corner somewhere, like ready. And I've literally, when I work with couples, I've had someone tell me, I have my own bank account. I have my own, I have a suitcase ready just in case I need to leave. So when I hear that, it's someone who is struggling with maybe trust. Maybe they're dealing with something that they haven't talked to their partner about. It could be generational. Some things we are just conditioned to believe. A lot of things we get from our parents, um, may not be the healthiest for us,
Mm,
right? It could be, you better keep that on your own bank account because you never know what's going to happen. You better keep that suitcase ready. You never know what's going to happen. Don't give your whole 100. Keep some of that 50 to yourself because you never know. So when I hear that, that's what I was thinking of.
okay. As you were talking about, and I thank you for that. When I hear you talking about keeping your suitcase packed, several years ago, I used to do working in the field of domestic violence, right? And that's one of the things they would tell people: keep your
Mhm.
suitcase packed because you never know when you got to run for your life.
That's right.
Okay, but I don't think that's what you're talking about here, though. Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
but it's not about domestic violence.
Okay,
I'm talking about even in healthy relationships, when you're in a relationship and you're not fully healed, um, you still have some unhealed, unresolved things going on that makes you say, hey, I don't trust this person 100% for me to give 100%. But certainly, I've worked with domestic violence quite a bit in my career. And yeah, that is one thing we say, make sure you have something where you can get out pretty easily. But if you're in a healthy relationship, why would you want to?
Right. And yeah, but for some people, like I've heard, I, there is a difference between being in a healthy relationship and acting out a healthy relationship.
Hmm.
You know, you can act it out all you want to, you know, it looks really good, but then something could trigger that piece where all your learned acting out behavior just goes to the door, and like the real you just stand up, you know. Now, I don't know what some people would do with all of that stuff. You know, if you address that, then there's a question I want to ask about safety. Go ahead.
So when you say safety, I'm not I'm thinking, I guess, more in terms of emotional safety,
Okay.
more so than physical safety, because I think when you're in a relationship and you have somebody that's supposed to be, so it depends on the relationship. I want to go back to the relationships I was talking about. If you are in a relationship where you do have the hierarchy that you believe in, I do have this person that um, steers our relationship. I support him in this relationship. He consults with me, but he really, the decision lies with him. If you have those kind of relationships, the type of man that is leading the family really matters.
Okay.
And so sometimes we want to be in relationships, or men, and I've talked to, because I specialize in working with men, and men are typically wanting to be that leader in the relationship. They want to be that person. But the thing about it is, if you are going to be a leader in your relationship, you have to have leadership qualities. You have to have leadership qualities that's going to make your woman want to uh, be submissive, or be in that role of support, um, or help you make decisions, but you have the final. If you want to lead a relationship, you have to have the correct leadership skills. And
Right.
if you don't, then you're going to have somebody who doesn't feel emotionally safe, mentally safe, spiritually safe, or psychologically safe.
Hmm.
You just can't. If you have someone that's um, you know, I wrote something down. I have a lot of men, when I talk to them about a submissive person, they want a submissive wife, and they usually try to quote the scripture on, the original design of their marriage was leadership of the man or the husband, and a willing submission, willing being the key word, submission by the wife as his helper. Men give me that scripture all the time. So, and that's okay. But when I think of the words leadership, women are not going to follow you if you don't know where you're going. That doesn't create psychological, emotional, spiritual, mental safety for anyone. Some women don't have a problem, the ones I've spoken to, allowing their man to lead, the relationship, and relinquishing some of the control if their man is going somewhere.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It
So
makes
yeah, you got to be going somewhere. And for the men, if they're listening, if you don't have a vision for your relationship or for your marriage, if you don't know where you're going, you don't have good decision making skills, good communication skills, if you're not providing for the family, not just monetarily but in all other areas, then you forfeit your right to be a leader.
okay. So let me just say this here, you know, Diane, that we going back to staying with leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem because I already figured it out in my mind. And I know this, that my wife is much better at tech stuff than I am. I have no business trying to be a leader in our family in the tech areas.
Mm-hmm.
I have no business. And I don't see myself degraded because I'm not as tech savvy as she is. I don't see that. I say to myself, I feel fortunate that I have a wife, okay, that will take my ignorance and make something out of it. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm
Yep,
saying, here too is that that leadership is not necessarily consistent across the board, not
I
in the human, not in human relationship.
I agree.
I just wanted to say that. Can you basically address that? Because one of the things that, then we're going to go back to this scripture that these guys like to quote to you. I want to get back to that in a minute.
I will.
Yeah, go
There's
ahead.
something that you said, and I screenshotted it because I liked it. You says, I am a beta male. Yielding to God takes priority over me running things. And I love that quote from you. Because that to me speaks to your leadership as well. So getting to the subject of, and I want you to explain that particular quote when you later, but I want to answer your question about leadership. So there's going to be times in the relationship when the leadership may look like this,
Mm-hmm.
right? I may not be good with finances, but he is. So leadership. He may not be really good with cooking or anything like that. So their leadership changes. He may have certain skills or things that I don't have. So you see how it's going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's still, you still have someone that, because leadership is also about having someone in your life too that believes in your leadership, respects your leadership, and that's men and women.
Mm-hmm.
So if the woman is leading in certain areas, then the man would be respectful of that, because each of us have different gifts that we're bringing. So I love what you said about your wife is the tech person and you're not. That doesn't diminish your leadership in the relationship. It doesn't diminish you at all as a man. It doesn't diminish you or take away from the other gifts that you bring into the relationship. You have a self-awareness that I'm not good with tech stuff.
Right.
And I'm okay with her leading in that area. Right. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does answer it does address the question really well, because it doesn't make sense for me to say because I'm a man, it gives me the right to lead out in everything. When I was a lot when I was a lot younger, I did, and chivalry is still in with me. Chivalry is still in with me all the way. Chivalry is still there. Yeah. But now I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem sitting in the driver's seat when my wife and my wife is around the steering wheel. I don't have a problem. She can drive. There's nothing wrong with her driving.
Right.
It doesn't mean that, then sometimes I'll say to her, okay, can you drive Mr. Daisy today, please? From the whole movie, driving Miss Daisy. Drive Miss Daisy. You see that movie,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I said, listen, I feel like being Mr. Daisy today. And she go, okay. And she get in the car and she drive. And I'm in the passenger seat, just skinning and the grinning, and just
Yep.
and here is another word that goes along with trust. If I did not feel safe with her as a person, as a driver, I would not sit in the passenger seat.
That's right.
So because I feel safe with her, I can trust her. And I think those two words, and I want you to kind of just talk about that for a little bit, about the relationship between trust, between safety and trusting. If you've seen any of that kind of show up in the kind of work you do, especially when you're working with men or just working with people.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's a reality. Okay.
And I love that you said that, because when I do work with men, society has set you guys up. They really set you guys.
Because you're a part of the society that set us up. So now
I wasn't part of that. No, I'm just kidding. But there's so many things about that. So men have really traditionally or generationally been set up to think that, um, I have to show up as this alpha male. I have to show that I'm strong. Like I have all of these characteristics that people have put up on me, and I have to live up to those things. There was not be many men who would say, I'm drive Miss Daisy today," and have that level of comfortability because they feel like I'm the one that's supposed to drive, right?
Right.
And it has nothing to do with masculinity. It just
Right.
has it has to do with, I trust that she's going to get us there safely. I believe in her ability to get us there safely. But we start putting so many gender, um, assigning gender roles in relationships and just even in general, that it clouds us from just simply enjoying the moment in the relationship, simply enjoying the fact that I have someone that I can be vulnerable with. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to lord over them. I
Mm-hmm.
trust them implicitly.
Mm-hmm.
I can sleep at night because when you sleep at night and your eyes are closed, when
Watch it
you,
now.
I'm gonna keep it clean. I said I'm not gonna do
No, no,
that
no,
this
no, no,
time.
no, no. I'm
No,
saying that you're going somewhere. If
you,
you don't go, I'm going to
you
go
see
there.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you're asleep, that's one of the most vulnerable
Yes.
times of your
Absolutely.
entire life.
Yeah.
That person that's next to you, if you can close your eyes and get the snoring, that person next to you is someone you feel safe with, someone that you can get a good night's sleep with, somebody that when you wake up is going to be there. There's some predictability there, someone that got your back, right? That's a good feeling when you can be with someone who allows you to rest,
Oh, that's a nice word. Rest.
just
Not just
rest.
right.
Because we
Well,
sleep all the time, but do we rest? And when you're with somebody that you can just simply let go, close your eyes, and rest, that's somebody that you can truly trust. The problem is when we allow ego and other things like ego plus pride and all these other things, it kind of prevents us from having some levels of vulnerability in our relationships. And we're missing out on so many things because we've been conditioned that we're supposed to show up a certain kind of way.
mm-hmm. Listen, a person who can drive our children to school, to church, to football, to all these other things when I'm not there. And if she can do all of that, I can certainly open the driver's door for her and close her in the driver's door and walk around to my side and get in the passenger seat because she took care of our most prized possessions,
Mm-hmm.
which are the kids. So why am I not going to go back and, sometime when we're on long distance, like, so we have family up in the DC area, and sometimes we just, we just want to just take it easy and just drive.
Okay, don't come back here and now not y'all don't call me. You got people here. I just threw that in.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, man. And when we're driving, it's like, 12 hours. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sleeping. And when I wake up, I go, wow, you covered all these miles. I must have been sleeping a long time, but you've been driving it fast. If I can sleep while she is driving, I've got to feel safe and trust her.
Mm-hmm.
You're correct when you say that when you can rest like this, you are in your most vulnerable moment in life because I don't know what she's gonna, because sometimes I'll wake up and she's in the other room reading she can't sleep at 1 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know what she could have done to me.
Right.
So yeah, but I think leadership, though, for me, it also requires those two components. Okay, so let me go back. Let me go. Okay, here we go. Okay, one. What are your thoughts on men who expect women to take care of them, i.e., the expectation of the woman being there Uh-oh. Mother. Thank you. Okay.
I'm reading it again.
One of
So
a kind.
to take care
One
of
of
them.
a kind.
Hmm. So I'm looking at this in a couple of ways.
Yes.
When it says the expectation of their women being their mother, that's a very deep one. Is it on? Last name is Kind. I'll just say, oh, Kind. Um, that really is not. So let me just, I'm trying to see how I can preface this. So there's some women who are naturally nurturing, right? And they want to take care of their men. They want to, they have the food ready. I'm not one of them. I'm learning how to cook. But they have the meals ready, they have the bath drawn, they have the shower, whatever. There are some women who show up in their relationships in that degree, right? But it has to be a mutual thing, and it has to be reciprocity as well. So when he has an expectation to take care of them, I'm not sure what kind of conversations have taken place when they got together of this is what I really like. These are the things that I enjoy. These are the things that would make me feel good. This is part of my love language. Like when you're having those conversations and they're open and you kind of like, oh, okay, I can do that sometimes, or but if it becomes an expectation and no one's talked about it, um, then that's a different conversation.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because we want to show up in that nurturing, loving way, because that's, if we're in a relationship, we want to be the love is seeking the best and highest for your person. So
Mm-hmm.
if they tell you, I really love having my back rubbed, I really love having my feet rubbed, I really like whatever the person likes, and y'all have these conversations, then there and you agree to it, then that expectation is what you agree to.
Right.
But if
Uh,
but if it's a requirement, that's a different story. So there's a difference between I'm requiring these things of you than having that expectation that we've already spoken about. This is my love language. These are the things that I really like.
okay. And thank you. Thank you for going in depth with that. But let me just say here, though, that's kind of a throw it out to you. You're saying, well, listen, one of the concepts, expect their woman to be their mother. So there is some socialization stuff going on here. How were they socialized? Either at home, and they see this, and like you said, the mother is doing all of these things, and so we're not talking about, we're talking about roles now.
Yeah, we are.
The roles, and some of the roles are very rigid, and they become expectations. I'm thinking when they become so rigid, but they can transport some of that over to I expect my woman, my wife, my to be like my mother. And I think that I'm thinking here, you can jump in on this. I'm thinking here that might work well for a woman who is so nurturing that that's the way she gets to have some validity in her life, and so she's always looking for someone to nurture. But the other end of that is, if that's how you get your validity in life and you come up against somebody who is more independent, then you may feel like you're unemployed emotionally, and the person
Mhm.
may not even like you. So what do you think about that? I'm still trying to get into that question, which one of a kind,
Is that what it was? One of a kind. I missed the
that's
whole.
that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
Um,
one of a kind.
yeah.
Yeah, I like so I want to go back to the.
Hold on, one of a kind. Listen, we're going to get to that other one in a moment, one of a kind. So yeah.
I love that question
Oh
too.
yeah. Oh yeah. oh, she coming up with some stuff.
I love her questions. I think that mommy, so my son is a mama's boy. I'll say that.
Wait a second. Wait. Let me challenge you here. Let me challenge you here.
He is someone that, because based on my pregnancy with him and back then, it was just always us.
Okay, gotcha.
So the relationship as he grew older, he's still, and he'll tell you, he's like, yeah, I'm pretty much a mama's boy. He's married, but it's not where I interfere, right? He doesn't have the he doesn't expect his partner to do the things that his mom does, because that's really not realistic. I think having that separation, that degree of separation between parents and children, especially when they get older. Yeah, mom did this, mom did that, mama did that for you. But became became a husband and you had your own family, those expectations aren't realistic. And sometimes parents can still, especially when you have adult children, can still interfere. Because the mom is still, when there's no boundaries, the mom is still has certain access to, coming to your home. Mom can still have access to cooking your favorite meal at your house. Mom still's in your ear about, well, did she fold your clothes the way I do? Did you? And you can't do that, right? I mean, we have to set strong boundaries around our parents. But the thing about it is, for the man who's expecting that type of interaction with his wife based on his relationship with his mother or what he had with her, that's the baggage that he brought into the relationship, right? So that's the baggage that he needs to be responsible for. He needs to talk with mom, set boundaries. Things are going to be a little different now. I have somebody, I'm married. You can't come over as often. You can't be in my kitchen cooking when I get in from work. Like I have a wife now. So some of this is going to be about boundaries, but I think a lot of it too is just going to be about having conversations. That's why it's so important that before we say I do, and before we get all, got the butterflies and we got the stars in our eyes, we still need to have some conversation, and we need to be very observant. We need to be observant of how people were brought up, how they were raised. We need to meet mom and the family and just kind of see what the interaction is, right? So that you can have those kind of healthy conversations. Well, I notice your mom does your laundry still, and we live together. Or I see your mom, you know what I'm saying? So one of a kind, I'm not sure if I'm hitting on what you're, if I, what do they say? Picked up what you put down. I always wanted to say that. But kind of let us know if we're kind of on track with what you're saying. I think just the boundaries and communication is going to be really important.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, that was a really good question, but there's just so much to that, and so we're reframing it, take a lot of other ways, because not now we can ask the question, what is it about mother that makes her feel that she needs to continue doing this?
No boundaries.
Well, is there no boundaries, or is she grieving? She's just lost maybe she thinks she just lost a son
to
this.
I like that reframe. I like that reframe, Dr. Kidd.
I just reframed that.
I like it.
Yeah, maybe she thinks that she just lost her son to his partner, and so therefore the things that they used to do together, or the availability that brought her a lot of pleasure, okay, she can't do that anymore, because that word boundary is now stopping her from doing that, and she is now grieving, and so she's grieving, but the acting out of grief may allow her to dislike the other person, because now she feels like she's been robbed.
Yeah. Or what if he's been married 2 or 3 times already? Is this same pattern? Yeah. I mean, are we going to go through this every single time? And then, see, I have questions. And then what about her husband at home, or her partner, if she has one?
Yeah.
Like, this will be a time for them to reconnect as well. and pour back into that relationship. I understand grieving, when it comes to children, for sure, but I know we still have to recognize that they are adults,
Yeah.
and we're still going to be their mother and their father. That doesn't change at all. It's just going to look different.
Right. I think, if I say this, I don't know this, but I'm just thinking that maybe one of the things that one of the count was thinking, yeah, I'm always going to be mother and father, dad, mom. Okay. But the role and the function,
It's different.
it's got to change. Now,
Hmm.
those are some of the things and you're right. They need to have those discussions before we say, I do. Because you may say I do, and the other will say, but I really don't. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't like that. That's what I do. And then they go, well, my mama used to do that. Don't, please don't bring your mama in there. And so back to her question, to treat, to be a mother. Well, maybe your spouse, your wife, your special person is saying, listen, I've had all my children. I've had all my children. This relationship is not born out of pregnancy. It is born out of friendship and adults getting together. And so therefore there's a lot of conversation that needs to be had.
Hmm.
And in the kind of work you do and the kind of work I do, I know a lot of those conversations have not been had. It's because, man, I tell you what it is. What happens like it's because, man, this feels so good, and I want more of what makes me feel good.
Mm.
And it doesn't always feel good all the time because it takes energy from the other person to make you feel good. So we're back to where we started. What
Yes.
are you pouring into this? Where's your 100 or your 50? So all of these
Oh,
things,
I love that.
you know. So listen, if you don't mind, you had said something about these guys. I want you to go back there for a moment if you can, because I want to go back there with you too. When they say when they kind of quote the Bible and say, well, this is what the Bible is saying. So
Yes.
what are some of the reasons why they would tell you that?
I think one is manipulation.
Okay.
Um, and I've heard it so many times with the couples I've worked with, and even if I met with a man individually, um, they really feel they've twisted the scripture so that it benefits their what they're trying to do. And it's like, well, he says that I'm the head of the house and she has to be submissive to me. So even how the way they have said it to me before, um, it can be very abusive, and that's why women, when they hear the word submissive, really don't sometimes appreciate that word, because maybe the partner that they were with abused abused the word. And so when I hear men talk about, well, I'm the man and I'm supposed to, the Bible says, she's supposed to do what I say. And I'll be like, I don't know what scripture that is.
I'd like to know too.
Like, can you show me where it says that? Like, I've literally asked, can you show me that scripture? And they cannot,
Right.
because you have
Bible.
interpreted that scripture, you've twisted that scripture, you use it to manipulate, and keep someone in suppression. So instead of them being submissive, you've kept them suppressed.
Right. Exactly. And I think it's Ephesians 5 and verse 22 that
Hmm.
we're looking at. Verse 22. But no, 22 is the man. So I think around about 19 or 20, it says, wives, submit to your husband. It goes through that, the rest of that.
Yeah.
And I'm agreeing with you. Men, it's easy for men to take that as a sound bite and say, this is what God is saying about all things. Wives, submit to your husband. Now, sometimes when I'm talking to couples, people who are in premarital counseling, I will tell them this. I will tell them, I said, listen, you know, go down through wives submit to your husbands and stuff. And I will just come right out and say, listen, you do know that marriage is a death warrant, right? Marriage is a death warrant.
Mm.
They read verse 20, 21, 22, and 23. They discover that it is a death warrant because up front it says, you know, wives submit. Down below it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And here's a death warrant and gave himself for her. That's the death warrant. So when I'm
Mm.
married, I am supposed to, if I'm going to be biblical about it, be prepared at any time to die for my wife. That's what the Bible said, because Jesus died for his bride.
A death warrant.
It signing a death warrant.
You know, I'm writing this down, right? I gotta write this down. I've never heard it put that way. Maybe I need to read more.
When it says,
Wow.
husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself. One version of the Bible said, and died for her.
Mm.
If I'm not willing to do that, then why would I want her to be submissive? Because I'm making her a slave, because this submission is what she is doing. It's not what he should require of her. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm picking up what you're putting down. And I bet the audience is too.
Oh Lord! But you know, this is what happened every time you and me get together. You know, we some stuff come out.
It come out. But Dr. Kidd, what do you think? So I was reading about mutual submission.
Okay.
And when I was looking at mutual submission, because I don't believe that. I believe in, like I said, I'm an alpha submissive woman, and with an alpha submissive male. And so that's mutual submission, where what it's characterized by trust, it's characterized by the value of the relationship of that person. It's a fair sharing of thoughts and feelings. And so I really loved when I came across that term mutual submission. I was like, oh, that's pretty different. What do you think about that?
The mutual submission?
Mm-hmm. Is that possible?
Oh, absolutely. I think it is. I think mutual submission is possible if we reframe the word submission as "I got you, I can't breathe, let me out." Okay,
Yeah.
I tap out. If we see that as WWF, you know, where these big guys are jumping and choking each other to death, you know, if that's our framework of submission, then there's no mutuality in that, and there is a victim and a victor. You know what I'm saying here? But that's not what I hear you saying. Here's it, that come back to I feel safe, I can trust, and so therefore I can just lay myself down and go to sleep and let you take care of me. I am giving myself, I am submitting myself to you, not because it's required, but because I trust you. These two ingredients now. Because I trust you and I love you, and not only that, because and I'm going to say this part, because in this kind of relationship we have gone from you and me to us. You see that? This is me over here. This is you over here. And so we know we're going to be fighting like this. No mutual submission here.
Right.
But we can go from you, me, and when we get, this is what I'm saying. So I'm going to leave it right here as a mutual submission. What do you think?
I agree. And I loved when you go from a me to a we. Yeah. It definitely looks like that. But I think when I'm working with women and just getting to that place of trust, because being submissive to or that submission period is about having a trust for someone, and where you feel that you're vulnerable. And I think there's so many of the women that I've worked with, especially when they're dating, who are dating, they showing up strong and independent is is the only thing they had that's the only thing they could be in at the time, if that makes sense. They show up that way because that's the only way they knew how. That's the only way that they can, get things done. And so it's really hard when you, and just talking to women, to go from being that independent strong woman to relinquishing that to the man. And when you think about it, because they say, I just don't trust anymore, I don't have faith anymore, or I'm scared. And that's why when I'm working with men, I really do talk a lot about leadership and what that looks like and what that means to a woman, if you want that type of relationship.
Okay. Well, listen, I think, and then we're going to shut it down in just a moment. But here's what I'm thinking about that. When I say, listen, and so what goes through my mind here is this sometimes is, so all these negative things happen to you in the past, which has nothing to do with this new person,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm bringing the past
Mm-hmm.
in here and I'm overlaying it on this new person,
Mm-hmm.
which did not hurt me in the past and is not hurting me now. But then because of my past, I'm going to feel somewhat protective of myself. And when I do this, I may be locking the other person out who wants to do this to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. You're making the person who's staying pay for the one who left.
Yes. Pay for the stuff in the past. Oh,
Yeah,
Diane,
but this stuff, Dr. Kid, it goes way back.
it does.
If you think about just even when the beginning of the welfare age, when men were not allowed to stay with the women in the home and their children, there was
Right.
that degree of separation. So the
Hmm.
woman was out there just being vulnerable. If you even go back to slavery, they had to watch their women get beat, taken away, children. So I was reading this book, and it just shows how much trauma that has transmitted down to even a layer of some of these generations now, that it's really deep when you really think about it. And women want to feel safe, they want to feel protected, they want to have somebody they can be vulnerable with. But back then, it was taken away from them. And so that distrust grew. It's like, well, I've had to do it all by myself because they wouldn't let you live with me in the home. So I had to figure things out. Or even back in slave times, I just had to make it some kind of way without you. And so we have a lot of generational things from way back then that are still on a subliminal level impacting how we've been conditioned. And
Okay.
so that's why I really love working with women. And I talk to them about, if you consider yourself an alpha, you can be an alpha submissive. And that's just a topic that I'm going to be talking on a lot, on how to reframe. Just because you're an alpha woman, that doesn't make you a bad woman. You did what you did and you survived because that was the only way you knew how,
Yeah.
right? But then there's a soft side of you,
Yes.
and we have to stop operating out of our masculine energy and connect with somebody who allows us to be soft and allows us to be to rest,
Okay.
right?
That's something that in and of itself, it sounds like there's a lot of content and context to that. And man, when you're ready to do that down the road, I want to come back and talk to our audience about that, because that is so important. The other piece I'm going to say here, then I'll give you the last word, is that when we talk about alpha males and alpha females and beta and all this kind of stuff, I'm not so sure where that terminology came from, but it might be. I'm not sure if it is culturally accurate though,
Mm.
because you know, because in the non-black
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For us, our women have to be alpha and beta, and the men the same thing. We have to be shifting roles just in order to accommodate. So I'm not so sure that we need to buy into and strap that I'm an alpha male or an alpha female. I'm not so sure because we were stripped of so much during slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Our manhood, our sisterhood, what we
Yeah.
do, what we should do back in Africa, doing whatever we used to do, but we were stripped of that, and we were taken and placed in. It's still February, Black History. We were placed in
Mm-hmm.
somebody's house to have things done to us, and
Yeah.
when we had those things done to us, okay, me, the alpha male who was taking care of my family member, I was tied to a tree, and there was nothing I could do
Nothing you can do.
that. Yeah, and sometimes I don't know if sometimes if the helplessness of the female at that time may get transcended, may be transferred over to the helpless male. He said, "But I'm
Mm-hmm.
helpless. What can I do? Do something. But what can I do?" And and I think that those are some of the kind of I'd love
Ah,
to back
I
back
love that.
for us to talk about the relation. Let me. I got to write this thing down. I'm going to call something not the relationship between alpha and beta male and slavery, or the impact. You understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah. I like how you said we have to be, we can be that alpha and beta.
Yes.
And I don't even know where those terms, I
I
don't
don't
know if they were just ascribed to
know. Mhm.
us as, I don't know if that was a societal thing that, I don't know, need to research that. But I like that we don't, are we just one thing, or can we be alpha when we need to be beta? Like, I like how you're talking about vacillating in and out of those. Somebody just said some, oh, warning is not just meant physically, it's a bad harmful habit. The warrant is just
One is not just meant physically
for your woman.
for your women.
What's warrant? It's not bad
It's
harmful.
also setting aside bad, harmful habits. The last part, yeah, setting aside bad, harmful habits. You know, because those
Mm-hmm.
bad, harmful habits, while I may have it as me, when I do this, it follows me.
Yes, absolutely.
And when it follows me like this, you know, it's going to manifest itself like here.
Mm-hmm.
Because the degree to which I enjoy those bad, harmful habits, bad and harmful at the same time, that's a possible. The degree to which I enjoy bad and harmful habits is the degree to which I'm going to be seeking opportunities to do more, some of that, even when I'm here. I do it out here. It ain't hurting nobody, but when I'm here, it felt good out here. Let me see how good it's like right here.
Whew.
Oh,
You did it.
Listen, Diane is her last word. Give us the last word, and I'm going to say this. Yeah, you and I, and maybe another sister, can come on and talk about the alpha beta stuff in
Mm-hmm.
relationship to slavery,
It's
the
oh,
impact of slavery on this, the death.
I agree. Even
Yeah,
when you just do research on
yeah,
the Welfare Act and when it started, how they treated men and women, it was
yeah,
something back then in the
yeah,
60s.
yeah.
So my only takeaway is that,
Oh,
it's so important that
bring that back up, please, because I just want to address
the
that thing.
the death warrant. Oh,
The death warrant that get mentioned earlier
yes,
is not just physical. It
that's right.
also means, into the bad, it leads into bad habits. Okay, yeah, we,
Yes,
we can talk some more about it. Go ahead, though.
I like that. No, I mean my only closing thoughts are, you know, we really have to start having these kind of conversations, and we really have to start figuring out what causes us to show up in relationships the way that we do. And I think, we come through our parents, but who we ultimately become in relationships is up to us. But I just think communication, I never can stress that enough, is having hard conversations. You know, talk about what kind of relationships that you want. Talk about, um, before you say I do. A lot of times we say I do because we still got them stars and stuff in our eyes and we're so happy, but we haven't had the conversations of what's your take? Do you want it to be traditional like your parents, or what do you want our relationship to look like? And so I just encourage everybody to have those conversations, have the kind of relationship that works for you and yours, because our relationships don't look alike. Um, and understand, alphas and alphas, sometimes that's a very difficult relationship from what I've seen. But
Mhm.
I want to reframe it because even alphas can be submissive.
Yes. Diane, thank you so much. Agreed. Save our sister on unplugged podcast. Wait a minute. We need to we need to get in touch with this person here. Agreed. When a woman has been a boss in her world for a long time, we need patience from our man.
Oh,
Yes, trust, reassurance, help us break down these barriers to give up our
to
position. So
give up our position.
listen, you're
Whew,
you need
I
to,
like
I
her.
need to talk with you. I need to talk with you.
I
You
like her a lot.
I like her. I
I
like
like her.
Yeah, I want her to come on, but I also want you to come back and deal with this alpha beta stuff and how it was bequeathed to us in a different way on and through slavery. Okay. So
Yes.
you and also this wonderful sister, Save Our Sister Unplugged podcast, need to talk with you.
I need to talk with her too.
Yeah.
We all need to talk with
We all
her.
need to talk with her. We all need to talk with her.
Yeah. Very good. I loved how she ended it. And there
So
is nothing else that needs to be said.
yeah. So I'm gonna try to get her info and just make sure we get it out there because yes.
Dr. Kit, you are amazing. Thanks for having me. I
You're
love
welcome.
our energy when we get together.
Always.
Um, so I appreciate that a lot.
All right. I appreciate you. Listen, just slide on back into the back room there. I got a couple of words I want to say, things to say, and then we'll be done. Okay.
I'm
But
sliding.
okay, thank you, all so much. Thank you so much. Oh man, what a powerful session we had tonight. Diane never ceased to just bring her stuff, and she's so very articulate when she comes to it. So thank you so much, Diane. We'll be coming back. I got a topic for her that we're going to be discussing, and it's going to be somewhere down the road we're going to be talking about this. So we're going to put it out there, and I really do thank you. And please please like, follow, share, and subscribe. And all of these sessions they're worth sharing, and worth sharing. So like, follow, share, and subscribe so we can have more of these very dynamic kind of people come on and share their information with us. Okay, nothing frivolous. This is all some very serious stuff, some stuff that can be mind bending. All kinds of stuff can go on here. So just please come and get engaged in just hearing different thoughts and giving your ideas also. So we really do like that. So thank you so much. And also, if you'd like to, please think about being a guest on the show. Just go to drkitspeaks@gmail.com and we will get you on here either on camera or just on audio. We don't mind. We prefer to have you visual, audio, and visual so that we can, have a deeper contact with you. Okay. So thank you so much. May God bless you. And we will see you the next time around next week. Be good. Thanks much. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.